Hey, folks, and welcome to the Political Matrix News. I've been wondering how could the administration accidentally deport one of its own citizens, an actual citizen of the United States, and mistakenly think that they're a gang member and send them off to some horrible foreign country that they don't know anything about or know anyone at?
It never happened.
It never happened. I'm Scott Miller, and this is my partner, Greg Fink. We're with the Political Matrix News. We've both each spent 30 years as political consultants and behind the scenes in political campaigns, and we have seen it all. We'd like to give you a little bit of our perspective from the backstage version of this. So when you listen to the media narrative about Garcia, what's this cat's name? I can never remember
His full name is Abrego Garcia.
Yeah, it would probably help if I had glasses and I could read.
Abrego Garcia.
Abrego Garcia, that's it. Honest to God, I keep getting it confused with Abu Ghraib as a prison.
It's Abu Ghraib.
Abu Ghraib. Anyway, so Abrego Garcia, that's on basically almost every news outlet other than Fox, maybe Newsmax, and a couple of others. He is a Maryland father who was mistakenly deported by the evil Trump administration.
Evil.
And the reality is, when you grab his actual court filings and the documents that really talk about what his about why he was arrested and who he is, it wasn't a mistake. They're pretending like there's a withholding order. Hey, there you go. They're pretending like there's a withholding order that prohibits him being deported. There is no such thing as a withholding order that prevents you from being deported. There's a withholding order that prevents you from being deported to a specific country. And the country that Abrego Garcia was prohibited from being deported to is Guatemala. Trump sent him to El Salvador, where he is a citizen. But it doesn't end there. So let's emphasize the only place that he was prohibited from being deported to is Guatemala. Sending him to El Salvador is perfectly legal.
Yeah.
And he does have an order of removal. So
it doesn't fit the narrative. It does not fit the narrative.
Well, yeah, why let the facts get in the way of a good talking point, huh? But that's exactly what's going on here. They don't, they know that that it's perfectly legal. I don't know why the Department of Justice, honestly, isn't hammering in on this more themselves, to be honest with you, because this was a settled case a long time ago. There's no justification for the guy even being in here. He was arrested 3 different times in the company of other well-known MS-13 leaders, and he actually, in the report on him, he is listed as having a gang nickname and a gang rank. Like they have like ranks like sergeant, lieutenant, and stuff like that, but it's a Spanish word that's meaningful to the gang, but it's not the sort of thing that we would normally recognize as a rank. It's just like Grand Poobah, it's something that they made up internally.
Yeah.
But the important thing is that it's real. He was arrested multiple times. Every time they confirmed that he was wearing gang clothes. Okay. If you are hanging out with a gang and you are especially a violent street gang like MS-13, and you are having like clothes and tattoos that represent that you are one of them and you're not one of them, that is a lethal mistake.
Yeah, we actually had,
they take it seriously.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of nonprofits that I was a part of that used to teach kids don't hang out with the wrong crowd because you might get sucked into that crowd. It's exactly what we tell kids every day, and he's an adult, for God's sakes. If you're not a gang member, don't hang out with gang members and dress like gang members and be everything there is to mirror a gang member, or you might be perceived as a gang member, or you might be a gang member.
When you run with outlaws, you hang with outlaws. That's the fact. It's just like riding in a car with a bunch of your friends. They knock over a liquor store and shoot a guy. you still go to jail for
Yes, you
felony
do.
murder.
In every state of the country, you still
Every
go to
state of the
jail.
union,
Every
whether you
race.
even if you had no possible clue that they were going to go in there and rob that liquor store, you still are rolling with them, and you'll get arrested. The
One of my good
difference
friends
is
from
this wasn't a mistake.
no,
This guy was there long enough to have a rank, and
exactly.
not like slick sleep private. He has like a leadership role in MS-13, and
Maybe
that's
he's an
why.
honorary member.
No, he is nothing honorary about it. He is an operational member.
Well, the whole fact that the media had to find this one guy out of all the people, those prisoners in the very first batch that went, shows that a, they're looking for something that they basically had to create to make the reality, and b, the PR department at the DOJ sucks, and so obviously
Well,
they
this ain't
they
the
need to
PR
get on the
department. This is the
messaging.
lawyers.
What?
This ain't even the department. This is the lawyers. Now, the narrative
Yeah,
that it was an accident and a mistake was created by a DOJ official,
right.
a Biden era official that would literally deliberately sabotage the incoming DOJ. And
Definitely.
they did it on purpose, and they got fired for it, and they should have been fired
Yeah,
for it.
should have been fired for it.
But why Steve Miller is not leaning into the legal facts of this case?
Yeah, no, I mean the whole the idea that they're delayed on this. I mean, just hurry it up. I mean, get on board with reality and the truth very quickly, because I mean it's a very. I mean, this isn't a slam dunk answer. I mean, the court documents say it that it has nothing to do with El Salvador whatsoever about not sending him back. Can't send him back to Guatemala, but you can send him back to El Salvador.
You absolutely can, where he is a citizen.
Exactly, not a
And
problem. And they have a prison there too, waiting for him.
yeah, and they had a
Yeah,
prison,
so
and El Salvador wants to arrest him. That's their problem.
they
That's
want to do
their
this three
citizen.
hot.
That's their guy who wasn't exactly father of the year here. With the number of times that that his wife or
Yeah.
girlfriend had him arrested for beating her up and
He wants to
threatening the
do.
children.
I mean, they're waiting for him to do one hot and a cot over there. I don't think they get three hots over there. They probably get one hot. But I mean, it's ridiculous totally that the whole narrative has shifted to where where people are actually defending and they're trying to separate gangs from terrorism and not realizing that it is all the same thing. And it should have been identified as terrorism a long time ago, not just recently. It's just totally different. I mean, so far I've had so many people jump off a cliff this week, psychologically, where the sky has been falling by every single thing Trump does. I mean, I have to say, Trump is living in their heads rent free. I mean, he's literally mowing their yard and landscaping their psychological minds. And he's putting up new fortresses, new castles inside their brains. And he's like, it's basically Trump Plaza in their brain rent free. And because, I mean, he is spending so much time with them. I mean, I think they're probably awake like maybe 20 hours a day, and 22 hours a day as Trump is in their brain. And
Well,
they keep getting alert.
well, I
He's
don't
doing
know
this.
what the Justice Department is thinking. I don't know what Homeland Security is thinking. I don't know what ICE is thinking. But I would be leaning in on this. Now, I will say this.
Yeah.
Now, the only possible legitimate reason that I think the Trump administration would be doing this is they know that they're going to win the case. They know for a fact they're going to win the case, and they're basically just letting the Democrats fall all over themselves with this talking point, only to be eventually shown what idiots they are.
Right.
But now, to be fair, the Democrats are raising money hand over fist. The Republicans are raising money hand over
Well,
fist. So
is
I
it really
always go
about
back to my
Garcia?
original premise that all of this crap that you can't understand is always about money.
It's always about money, honey, because I mean, the real reality here, they don't give a shit about Garcia whatsoever, or his family, or any of the freedoms that he's going to lose, or whatever. Senator, congressman, who he was, went to go sit down with them and have coffee and tea with him, and down
Well, he
south of the
knows.
border. I mean, come on, guys. The whole photo op thing was ridiculous. I
Mhm.
mean, it's almost literally like us going and sitting down with having a cup of tea with Bin Laden, and they're
and explaining to
terrorists.
the world the injustices heaped upon the poor Arabs
Exactly, and not
of the Bin
realizing.
Laden family.
I mean, MS-13 is probably more so dangerous than Al Qaeda was and the Taliban was. I mean, they're actually more despicable in how they kill people. I
Well,
mean,
they're certainly more arbitrary.
they just remember your fingers and your hands and your
Well,
arms and
I mean, I don't know.
crazy.
I think Al Qaeda does equally horrific things, but at least when they do horrific things, I mean, they're trying to make a point. MS-13 is just trying to make money, and part of the
Yeah,
way that they make money is to make sure that they inspire fear or terror.
that's true. Exactly, because the thing driving the terrorists on the Al Qaeda side is religion. I mean, so it's justifiable for them to be psychotically terroristic.
Well, I don't know about
However,
justifiable, but
it's
it's
not justifiable.
understandable. Yeah, I understand how they get there.
Exactly, but they get there because it's a religion, and MS-13 gets there just out of greed,
Yeah,
and
it is
that's that
all
period.
greed and it's arbitrary. Never miss an opportunity to make someone terrified of you.
No, I never miss that opportunity. Never.
And, no, and the nature of what they have to do the things that they do makes them a terrorist organization
Exactly.
because it's an organization that operates on terror. MS-13. If people weren't terrified of MS-13, frankly, if there weren't a lot of law enforcement outfits who rightfully so are scared of them. Now they're brave people and they will go do their duty, but that doesn't mean they don't have a healthy fear of what these guys will do to them.
Oh yeah, and they should have a very healthy spirit and respect about the way. I mean, MS-13 is military trained. I mean, they're not just regular gang members that are off the streets. The majority of them are military trained, and they're very well organized and very well funded. It's not like they're using like
And where did
little
they get that military training again?
Mexico or
We did it.
us. Well, we do
We
everything.
trained.
I mean, we train everybody. Let's just be honest with it, okay? We train the PLO, we train Al Qaeda, Taliban. I mean, we just keep giving ourselves enemies. I mean, it's like, hey guys, we're really cool, right? We're really cool, right?
Yeah, the
Yeah,
enemy of my enemy is not necessarily my friend. He may also be
my other
he may
enemy.
be the joint enemy of me and my enemy.
Exactly. It's kind of like Russia, everything here. I mean, the whole Ukraine Russia thing, and
Yeah.
the whole thing is just such a mess. I mean, I will say I was shocked whenever Trump said that. He came out this weekend. That was a little irritating. He did say that his claim of fixing the war in one day might have been a slight exaggeration to get some campaign support, but it is what it is. You know, it's a lot tougher situation than he is at liberty to know. Obviously, the whole Ukraine. I mean, the reality here is Ukraine's corrupt as hell. Okay, everybody wants to give Ukraine a pass. Ukraine has its own problems. Period. And Russia, we already know Russia's problems. There's nothing hidden there. Putin is a horrible terrorist dictator kind of leader anyway. So there is not going to be any real peace at all with this mess.
Well, I mean,
Period.
think about it. I mean, Ukraine has the same, their culture it comes from the same place that the Russians does from the Soviet Union.
In fact, isn't Putin from Ukraine?
Putin is a
So I
Ukrainian.
mean, and I mean, the whole point here is that you know, nobody had a solution. There is no solution.
Well,
Anybody who said they had a real simple one to make it work, they're lying their asses off.
well, all I'm going to say about that is that it will cost us billions and billions and billions of dollars to try to beat the Soviet Union or the Russians or the Ukrainians into submission, or we could profit mutually with them too with business deals that make them afraid to lose the deal. We have to give them something that they're afraid of losing before we can positively affect their
I mean,
behavior.
the
Otherwise,
only
you can beat them into submission. It's just I don't think that America is ready or has a justification to send boots on the ground, and that's what it's going to take to put an end to that war.
Exactly. The way we did it to ISIS is the only way to do it to Russia. I mean, basically, and nobody wants to talk about that because that would be a third huge world war. Is the only way to do it is to send American troops and military and just blow up that part of Russia that's attacking Ukraine, kill probably 10 or 15,000 Russians. And I don't think anybody really wants that. Now, if they do, raise their hand because
Well,
everybody
well,
says they do. Well, we hate the
yeah,
Russians. Let's go after them. Let's go after them. We hate Putin. But how many of them are going to be really willing to start killing all the Russian soldiers in order to save Ukraine? And just kind of like, how we killed ISIS is we did the mother of all bombs. That's what took care of ISIS. I don't think
and
we
no,
want to
no,
use
no, we hit them with those bombs, but we hit them with boots on the ground
exactly.
too.
I don't think we want to deal with
Name the
Russia.
conflict. Name the conflict anywhere that's a major conflict. Because I mean, there's little skirmishes, whatnot, that you can go, beat your chest and do whatever. But name the major conflict between major powers that has been resolved without putting troops on the ground.
Exactly. And if people
It
really
just
want
doesn't
that,
happen.
let us know. And Trump will gladly do it. No, we won't.
The people that want you to believe that we can win without boots, that we can win by beating them without boots on the ground, are trying to sell you something, and usually it's munitions.
Exactly. That's what they're trying to do. And I mean, it's totally ridiculous how everybody's like trying to hold Trump to this level here. I mean, granted, Ukraine was not an honest broker. Let's just be honest about that.
No, they're not.
Zelensky is not honest about any of the money that we've given them already, or where it's gone, or how it's been used. I mean, we've given them enough to do a lot of damage, and the damage that they could have done has not been done.
No, and so the only way you're going to get Russia to to do the right thing is to make it in their best interest to do it.
Right.
And beating them to death is not going to be it. They're used to getting beat up, right? I mean, can you think of a culture that is more steeped in tragedy and just a hard scrabble life than Russia? Through Tolstoy and go back through centuries of their
They've been
history.
at war for centuries and years,
Yeah,
beyond centuries.
I mean, their culture, has evolved around just having to just lean into it and do stuff, and they don't care. I mean, hardship's part of what they do. So it's just ridiculous to believe that they're
Yeah.
Russia, that without us doing things that frankly will risk a nuclear war, that
Mhm.
we're going to resolve that.
Now, I was surprised today that India, a peaceful country like India, actually attacked Pakistan today.
Pakistan and India have been going back and forth for decades,
Yeah,
almost since they were both established as countries. They've been fighting about that, mostly about the Kashmir region,
right.
but just on general principle, they don't like each other, and I'm not remotely surprised. And I mean, it's unsettling because I know India's a nuclear power. I think Pakistan may be
Yeah, they
too.
both are.
But the other side of that is I don't think any of them, are under the delusion that there's a deploying a nuclear device, even a tactical nuclear device of like 10 kiloton or something like that,
Yeah,
is a winning move, because that will be the way. Yeah,
there's zero upside.
there is zero upside to that. Whatever ground you think you've won, over.
Yeah, I know India has been a very peaceful country here lately. And whenever I heard that they actually made the attack against Pakistan, I was like,
They have little skirmishes all the
yeah,
time. They
no.
have skirmishes with China all the time.
Well, I think everybody should attack China.
No, no,
I'm saying that
no.
video.
No, what I'm saying is China, China, they have little dust ups with China all the time, and
Yeah.
it's tempest in a teapot.
Well, actually, let me correct what I just said. I think everybody should attack the Chinese government. The Chinese people are actually pretty good.
Yeah,
The government is horrible. It needs to. What do you think about all the tariffs going on right now with the tariff updates about everybody's now, saying it's
tariff is a
taxes
tax.
and
Yeah, tariff is not a tax. What a tariff is as an incentive for you to buy American.
it is. But I wish we would have had a lot more of these factories in America ready to go to make American. a lot quicker, and they need to get the guys who are being a little sluggish on it. They need to step it up and get going here.
Let me tell you something. You want to talk about wealth inequality in America? The number one driver of wealth inequality in America has been the removal of industrial jobs from America to China.
Exactly.
There's a direct correlation that the IMF put out, of all people. The IMF.
Right.
They're far from a conservative organization. They're the actual globalists, the home of globalism.
Right.
And they will have reports that directly attribute income inequality to the erosion of industrial jobs in America.
Yeah. I mean,
It
it's
ain't hard.
disgusting. I mean, if you
And if you don't like the tariffs they're charging on Chinese goods, then buy them from Vietnam or Germany or some other country that has made a deal with us so that we are actually on an even footing, even trade footing with it.
yeah, well, some people seem to think that these tariffs are. It's almost like a magnet. They have to buy this tariff goods so you can feel like you're a victim. So it's kind of like people want to have this here self victimhood thing going on, and they just want to feel like they're being attacked by Trump because they hate Trump so much. And so if they feel like they've been taxed by Trump, it justifies their hate for Trump even more because they're only buying something that he's raising a tariff on that one country, where at the same time they could buy it from probably 10 or 15 other countries
Look,
easily.
all these guys on the internet that are showing them the price of something that they wanted to. First off, I've not seen any of that. I haven't seen people showing pictures at the actual grocery store or the retail establishment or whatever that shows these price increases. I'm not saying they don't happen, but they're far from everywhere.
Right.
And even the ones that do show stuff like that, that when they turn off the camera, they go buy the thing next to it that's not under a tariff. So you had to change brands, and that's what the real objection has nothing to do with the amount of money or anything. It is manufactured outrage that is
Exactly.
strictly for the
But I hate
purpose
Trump.
of expressing how bad a person Trump is.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, this whole Trump derangement syndrome has gone to a whole new level of placement right now. I mean, I got a lot of friends. I work with a lot of people who, in fact, some people work with us who are in that Trump derangement world, and you and I both know who they are, and we ain't gonna talk about it on the camera. But I mean, it seems to be it's like no matter what, if the sky is falling, it's Trump, and if the sky is lifting, it's everybody against Trump who's doing it. And Grant, I don't agree with a lot of the things that he's done. I think I don't agree with all the job cuts that they did at the very beginning, some of the different areas, because I know some of the people, everything else. But that's just because anecdotal reasons, not for any policy reason or anything like that. Right.
The Democrats are trying to frame this by the individual workers, but
Exactly.
the
And it's not.
reality is you can't do it that way. You
No, you
have to
can't.
you have to look at what the overall agenda is, and the overall agenda is fix the government, because there is no disputing all of the government's internal metrics are saying the government's broken.
Yeah, exactly.
So if the government thinks it's broken, who are we to argue?
I mean, exactly. I agree. I mean, we have so much rotation and everything else throughout all different parts of government. Just because you're a government worker doesn't mean everything's perfect. I mean, it doesn't work like that. I mean, just because you're a private worker doesn't mean every private worker is perfect either in the private sector.
No,
I mean,
and they gave you an opportunity to do a buyout so that you
yeah,
could go and spend 8 months on a beach or 8 months finding out what your next career is going to be.
it's very tough. I mean, there's no easy answers for anything in life right now.
Well, I mean, let me tell you, this is going to be a different world in 8 months.
But
I
yeah,
mean, it just
that's what I'm counting on. So in 8 months, if it's not a different world, we'll be asking why. but I'm pretty sure it will be.
We'll look at why, and we'll see what direction we're
And we'll
going.
evaluate the reasons why. Because the wheel didn't fall this way or wheel didn't fall that way. I'm pretty sure it's going to be a lot better.
Well,
That's what I
I don't.
just keep telling everybody.
Well, the bottom line is, I don't care what else happens in the government. There is no disputing that the things that are going on in the government right now, when you have government, interest groups, unions, and nonprofits suing the government for exercising its lawful powers to protect their little grant machine, their little funding machine, it's glaringly obvious what they're doing and why they're doing it.
Yeah,
And
it is.
they got to go. I mean, they just got to go.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, the government has to work for the people. It doesn't have to work for itself. I mean, it's a people's government, guys.
Yeah,
And I mean,
I'm
right now
sorry
we
that
got
you figured out how
VA.
to game the. I'm sorry you figured out how to game the system, and now someone is messing up your exploit.
Exactly. I mean, granted, I'm with the VA, and over here now, I just moved over here to Palm Coast, and they cut a lot of programs for us at the VA. But what they did was they consolidated them, they didn't cut them. People keep saying, "Oh, that was a cut." I'm like, "No, it's a consolidation. We just had to drive an extra 20 miles or 30 miles." Now, granted, a lot of people can't do that, so I feel
For
bad for those
now,
guys.
for
No,
now,
yeah, for now. Well, right now, we actually the VA clinic in Daytona Beach got shut down, and the one in St. Augustine got shut down. Basically, they got morphed into the larger hospital next to it because, I mean, Daytona Beach is only, 30 miles away from Orlando. And so Orlando's a huge hospital. So why do you have the same resources being duplicated in such a close area? I mean, it's only one county over, guys. Seriously. And then the same thing with St. Augustine and Jacksonville, and so they're just consolidating that. And at the end of the day, majority of the people still go to Gainesville because Gainesville is the one with all with everything. And Gainesville has more than the VA in Jacksonville or the VA in Orlando does. And so get
well,
over it.
Trump has already said that, so he hasn't said in so many words because he doesn't want to tip his hand too much because he knows this is going to be controversial. But he's already been praising the community care program to the point where it's pretty obvious he wants to turn the VA into an educational program and into an insurance program, so we can live up to our obligations under the GI Bill to provide education, housing assistance, and medical assistance. And instead of having there was a reason for having these medical facilities a long time ago, when most of the country was poor and there wasn't a well-developed medical system throughout the country. There was a reason, because you couldn't get sophisticated treatments and equipment everywhere, and so the government bringing it in, whether it was economical to do so or not, made sense. That is no longer the case. There are independent physicians' offices that are outfitted in some cases better than VA clinics.
Oh, yes. And actually, a lot of the VA clinics are actually like in the Pensacola region or other parts of Northwest Florida. I mean, they're more of a referral service, more so than they are a actual doctor's appointment inside the building. And therefore, you have to really good doctors, like your top-notch doctors, and the VA pays 100% of it.
And that was another thing. There was a time when just the random country doctor, that a lot of these guys were returning from war too, didn't really know how to to treat some of the more sophisticated injuries. And so there's a case to be made for having VA research facilities, VA special, like a handful of very specialized VA facilities. But the rest of it, man, just turn it into an insurance card, put it in their pocket, and let them go.
I mean, I remember I used to go to a lot of these VA rallies, and people kept on saying that if they don't have a hospital, then they don't have care. I'm like, no, guys, you still have care. It's just they refer you to a private hospital. And they said, well, we want a military hospital. I'm like, no offense, sometimes private hospitals might be a little bit better than military hospitals. You
Well,
know,
the funny thing is,
actually, right, 95% of the time.
my mother was an OR nurse. Half of the doctors, including the one she married, came from the military.
Hmm.
So, I mean, well, they kind of are military doctors, and the hospitals are covered up with military doctors because it's still very expensive to become a doctor, and a lot of people use the military as their route to become a doctor.
It's like vice versa. Also, at Shands Hospital, Shands is a very big private university hospital, University of Florida, UF Health, and they have a lot of Shands doctors who work at the VA.
Mhm.
So they're working both places. And so, I mean, when the VA is short on regular military doctors, it goes and gets them from the college or university. And Shands is one of the top notch hospitals in the country. My dad's a cancer doctor. She works at the VA and she works at Shands.
So, and at the end of the day,
It's
it's
gonna
a
work
big
itself
dust
out.
up about nothing. I mean, it's just someone grasping at straws for a talking point that they pray will take action, take traction, so they can maintain that dang,
Right. Yeah, I mean, and right now, I think we're all looking forward to the next presidential election here in, I guess, 3 years now, because we have to find a new Republican and a Democrat, and there's already starting to put feelers out there about that right now. And there's a list. I think Pence is on the list again. Mike Pence is on the list, and Larry Hogan
I
and
don't know.
Michael
I
Steele
don't know a
actually
lot
was
about
talking about it.
Hogan, but I don't know.
I have no idea. I don't think anybody who is on the list now has any chance of being in the top 5%
Well, that's true
by
no
that
matter
time.
what. They keep talking about AOC being the nominee for the Democrats, and I'll tell you right, like I've said repeatedly, you know, as far as a year out of the election, even when you know who the candidates are, the guy that's leading right now is probably not going to be the one leading on election day.
Right, exactly.
I mean, it's rare.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be very interesting. The 2020 election is going to be wide open, free for all, and it's going to be very fun to see. It's going to be very unique to see. I think DeSantis is actually probably going to be the front runner to that.
I don't think so.
I don't think so.
Okay. No, I think he has some credibility in Florida, but I think that he's abrasive in a way that's not going to translate well across the country.
Or Republican do you think? Because we actually know
I
who
don't know.
a lot of them
I
are.
don't have one right now.
Well, you don't think about Youngkin from Virginia? He's in trouble right now. Youngkin is. Did you hear about that? Trouble, I can put it, because he did not openly endorse a openly gay Republican lieutenant governor candidate.
Well, that's not trouble. That's actually bonuses. That's bonus points. For the people that want because people are getting so sick of this LGBTQ rights thing because again they're overplaying their hand,
Yeah,
which is great sound bites and great for fundraising, but for when you want people to deliver the votes, not so good because it's hard to get people excited about coming to support those people.
right. And Governor Youngkin was just like, I'm not trying to do anything against the guy. I'll support anybody who's a nominee. He's not my favorite guy. Whatever. Who cares?
You know, it's possible to not like one of these oppressed people because they're jerks or have stupid ideas, having nothing to do with their status as minorities
Yeah. I mean,
or their
because
immutable.
his lieutenant governor was a short little African American woman. That was his lieutenant governor for the last 6 years, and they got along great.
It has nothing. It has absolutely nothing to do with with him being homophobic or anything. It's everything in the world to do with I don't agree with that guy, and I'm not going to load him up on my ticket.
Exactly. I mean, Youngkin's terming out. That's the way it works, and he's moving on to bigger and better things.
If we go,
Yeah, I think he hopefully will be running for president. He would definitely be my choice.
I wouldn't say that until I know more about him. I mean, you can't let these people in state government to.
That's true. I mean, he did do a good. You're right. State governor of Virginia. He did a really good job as the governor of Virginia. However, we don't know exactly how he is on a national affairs level and on the policies of Ukraine.
Well, let me tell you, all I know is for him
All that
to be
wonderful stuff.
elected governor in Virginia, he ain't a hardcore Republican because they wouldn't elect him there. period. I will absolutely agree with that. I mean, because it, you know, Virginia is a purple state. I mean, think of the people who've been senators and governors of that
That's
state.
true, yeah.
That
It's
Kane
pretty
guy,
purple.
that Kane guy that was Hillary liked so much.
McCain, he's still there.
Yeah, yeah,
He's still a senator.
yeah.
Crazy.
And he that means that the entire state voted for
It was
that
for
guy.
him, yeah. Kind of like when we have Bill Nelson.
Yeah, like yeah. Well, we were a lot more purple back then. We've turned
were we?
decidedly turned decidedly more red since he's gone.
Well, after all these voting purges that we've been seeing here, reality is, were we really that purple? Or were just people not purged off the rolls yet?
Well, the net effect. So it's probably more fair to say that we weren't, we were purple in result more than we were purple in opinion.
Reality.
Because you and I are looking at a lot of elections data that just isn't.
Yeah, because immediately after that purge, red, really red.
I wish I could remember the guy's name, but I was commenting on a guy's post on X. He's one of the senior pollsters over there at Rasmussen, and he was talking about how, you remember, on the 100th day anniversary, every media outlet in the country was talking about how Trump's popularity is going downhill. He's on fire,
It's
free falling.
horrible.
What are we going to do?
He's on fire.
Except for Rasmussen. Rasmussen said he was fine. And the reason he thinks he's fine, and when he put all those polls up on the screen and you looked at them, the thing that jumped out to me as a pollster was every single one of them was a registered voter poll, except for the one that was an adult poll and the one that was a likely voter poll. The likely voter poll was Rasmussen. Now, I want to explain what the difference is. People don't understand this is one of the ways that pollsters manipulate you. And that's by, especially the liberal ones, because it's really easy for them to do it. When you go registered voter and not likely voter, people that you're actually polling tend to not be engaged in the political process and to listen to news presenters to understand for their understanding of how events are unfolding. And 83% of them are registered Democrats. So they're going to view it a certain way. When you poll those people, then the results you're going to get are going to have a bias that I've seen as high as 13 points versus what reality turned out to be just a few days later.
The bias is horrible with them. I mean, we've seen some that are 19 points.
Yeah. When you see polls, look to see, are they likely voters? Are they registered voters, or are they adults? Adults aren't even registered to vote necessarily.
No, they're adults.
And the other kind of other way that they kind of screw you over is they tell you that that they let you self-identify as a likely voter. Are you going? We have your number. Are you planning on voting? You are. Are you really likely going to vote? You are. Okay. Knowing full well that social desirability bias will make it so that people will tell you what they think you want to hear. Like, of course I'm voting. I'm not a bad person. I'm going to vote. Well, all it does is create, lies within the data, but that's okay because they're doing it for clients that want it to look that way.
How many people, if you ask them on the street, are you a good voter, are going to say no? You
might as well walk up to them and say, hey, are you a good person?
Yeah, exactly. Because how many polls have you and I read? We argue with the clients. The clients wanted us to put that question in. And we just did it just for shits and grins. Excuse me. We already know the data. We already know the exact person that we're talking to and how their score is and everything. We already know if they're 80% or 100%. They all say they're 100% voter. Some will be 10%. Some will be a 0% voter, like they never voted ever.
No.
But they say they're 100% voter. They vote every time.
You're talking about one of my favorite studies that Campaigns and Elections did, where they
you and I did that one also.
Well, I know, but Campaigns and Elections asked 6,000 people
about
their voting record, and 80% of them lied, and you know which ones didn't count as a lie? The ones that were actually 100% voters.
Exactly. I mean, guys, we know your history, you know. In fact, I pretty much have the voter database of nearly the entire nation at our ability to get any second, any minute. And so please don't lie.
Well, I mean, there's no point. I mean,
There's no point in it.
well, no, there's no point in asking them not to lie. I
Oh,
mean,
there's
it's
no point
not.
in lying either.
There's no point because they don't feel like they're lying.
That's true.
So, but because the question is, are you a good person? The answer is always, well, yeah, I'm a good person.
And the other
Unless
question
you're a
is,
very badly damaged person.
when do you stop beating your wife? Because I can never beat my wife. And so the whole point here is that the only people that actually answer those ways are the Democrats in our experience.
Well,
Our
I mean,
polling.
well, no. Anyone that you ask if you're a good person, but because I'm
That's
just
true.
going to
Yeah.
go ahead and equate. You know, are you a regular voter? Are you going to vote? It is the same question as are you a good person, because voting is viewed as a civic duty and a virtuous thing to do. And so why are you not going to claim it? I mean, how are they going to know? They're on the other end of the phone. They don't know what you're going to do. They don't know you.
No,
But
they know us.
we actually do. So, but the thing is for us, for our polling company, if you weren't a good voter, we wouldn't be calling you.
How many polls out of the last 300 or 400 that we did, actually the last 420 we did, how many did we get that were outside the 3% margin of error?
I mean, on
I think
election
two.
day, 2, 3.
I mean, yeah, I mean, over 400 polls easily were all within the margin of error. In fact, the majority of them were within like 1 point. That's because we understand how to, A, we understand the audience we're talking to. B, we understand how to ask a question and get a truthful answer.
Well, I mean, the point is, and this isn't just to pat ourselves on the back. It's really to talk
The
about
fact.
how despicable the other guys is, because it's easy to get good results, and these pollsters know this. They know
Yes.
how to get the correct results. They are deliberately operating these polls for a specific reason. I mean, they might as well just be making the data up.
I mean, the reality is that a lot of our clients were losing. Anyway, we don't like telling them that, but they did. And it's also not like we're going to do a press release about, hey, our client is fine. You don't do that. That's pretty stupid. So,
No,
granted, you know, it is what it is.
but I'll tell you pretty flat-footed. If it's a poll that's in the media, chances are it's a bunch of bullshit anyway. Because
Exactly.
the real polls that they pay the real money for accuracy, they they generally don't release unless it tells a very compelling story that they're looking for.
Right.
Then they'll release that.
Fundraising.
But 9 times out of 10 is, I mean, you can tell how the questions are phrased, how the people are, what the data looks like, the audience that they're polling and stuff like that. You can tell whether it's a real poll or not. And I'll tell you right now, if it's a political poll and they're not polling likely voters, it's a BS poll to begin with.
And people don't realize, most national polls, they only poll like maybe 1% Alabama,
I know,
maybe
right?
two people in Mississippi, because it has to be. I mean, majority of these national polls are like maybe like 1,500, 2,000 people have a nation of 400 million. So you ask, how do you get that kind of accuracy there? And basically, you do it proportionally. California gets most of the answers, then New York, then Florida, then Texas, and then down from there. I mean, basically, a majority of these guys just poll 4 states and call it a national poll. And they might get like one out of Kansas, maybe one out of Idaho,
Right.
maybe two or three out of Alabama.
They just get minuscule samples. In some states, it's very hard to get anyone.
Yeah,
I mean, just
Mississippi is
because
very
of the
hard.
law, because of the laws, the way that the information is available in different states and stuff, and like voter history and things. Not all states make that available, so it's really hard to get
Alabama,
accurate.
Alabama to get their voter data and get their accurate history is right around $20,000. You have to be part of the party to do it too. You're Alabama Democrat Party or Alabama Republican Party. To get access to it very easily. Now, other people can get access to it through other vendors and other backroom deals and everything else, but not ethically.
Right. So anyway, so, polls, we are.
Exactly. A snapshot in time,
Absolutely. And that's the
a
thing.
barometer of the moment.
I will say this, that registered voter polls are accurate are accurate over time. Now, they won't tell you the correct percentage of people that feel a certain way, but you can use it to support a trend.
Right. Now, also, if you need to do like if they're going to start charging parking for a parking lot on a beach, like they're about to do here where I live, those kind of polls are going to be very accurate very quickly.
Well, they will, but like you and I've always sold those polls like that is, why do you want to know if you are an elected official and you want to know how people feel about something like that, then why do you care about the opinions of people who aren't going to vote?
Exactly. Because the people on the beach are tourists.
Yeah, the tourist, who cares about the tourist thing? Pay up, son.
Exactly.
You want to come to the vacation capital of the country, then you got to pay, and that's fine. But it's not the same thing. Elected officials only care about getting reelected, and why they would care about what someone who's not even registered to vote thinks. They're just going to run their mouth. They will happily, that's you remember how much time we've spent talking to people like candidates about going door to door. We always tell them you got to go to door because that people remember that. The more door to door you do, the more
They say why.
more likely you are to win. And some of these guys want to go start on the block on one house in the block, like at the start of the block, and hit every house on the block, and they will never ever
God bless
get
them.
enough to make an impact, and they
No,
will always run into people that will spend an hour talking to them
they can't vote.
who not even registered to vote. But
Exactly.
the people who are registered to vote, who are likely voters, will get them to the door, talk to them for maybe 5 minutes. Yeah, okay, I'm sizing you up. You're good. See you later. The guy that's not going to vote will keep you at the door for an hour and deprive you of the opportunity to get to talk to other people that will vote.
That's where a properly ran campaign has a good walking list where they actually
Exactly.
know exactly who to go to on that street, as a pollster would do whenever they're calling people and asking them questions about how they feel about a certain issue or not. I mean, the reality here is that a lot of these candidates just waste their time. And they want to feel good because they want to hit everybody, not realizing that everybody's not voting. In fact, some streets might only have one or two voters. Or if it's a very voting fraud driven area, houses might have 300 voters, you
And
know?
some blocks may have zero voters.
And some blocks might have zero voters. And they're like, how's that possible? I'm like, they suck. Okay. Or they're
I'm not
immigrant.
advocating for it. I'm just telling you what we've observed.
Exactly. And we've observed this a lot. Like, I've probably been involved in probably over 300,000 door knocking
Oh,
that we've
God.
done. Probably almost a 500,000
Yeah, for sure.
easily. And we've done over probably 20 million pieces of mail. I mean,
Over the last 30 years, I guarantee you I've been involved in knocking on just about every door in 3 counties.
yeah, I mean, and as far as like surveys go, we've been surveying political stuff since the late 90s. And guys, we've called over 15 million people,
Yeah.
15, 20 million people. And the answer, I mean, whenever we talk about what's going on with politics and Trump and everything going on overseas, I mean, there's a reason why we look at it totally differently than a lot of other people do, because we understand the outcome of it. I mean, I get frustrated with Trump every day. He's driving me crazy. However, I also know the big picture of it. I understand his vision of it, and it's going to work out.
I'm just telling you that I feel like this is how powerful these fear-based talking points are, because they're even affecting you. They're not affecting
Exactly.
me at all because I see them as BS talking points, and that's just how that is. you
Without really affecting me as far as the outcome goes, because I love exactly what he's doing. I just don't really like the mannerism. I don't like the order he's doing it. I think he's doing it backwards in some ways. I think actually a lot of our polling data would say the same thing. A lot of it, so that we ran polls, we do things in different manners than he's doing it. Also, at the same time, I don't think he's in charge of exactly how it's all going. I think he's being, sidetracked and sabotaged by some of the people from within.
No,
I don't think so.
I don't think so at all. I
Okay.
think he's doing exactly that this is his plan, that he's executing his plan the way that he wants to, and that you got you know if it wasn't the exact same negative attack campaign every single time,
Right.
I might buy into it a little bit more. But it is the exact same thing. It's 2016 all over again.
It
It's
is.
the exact. It's all of the same types of attacks. The problem the Democrats are having is that it's because Trump jumped on it and is blasting out so much stuff that they don't have a chance to bog him down like they were.
Right.
And the Supreme Court is getting ready to rule on the Social Security number. The so I said early on that things that Trump is early blitzing people with is things that are his highest priority that he wants to get it moving, and things that he knows for a fact that when they litigate it, he's going to come out victorious on. And one of those cases is the Social Security Administration case where they're trying to make it so that Doge can't look at Social Security data.
All right.
That is everything that they're complaining about. This judge trying to get Trump to Doge to create a spreadsheet of all the data that they want to look at and why they want to look at and what they're going to do and a presentation on what and how and why. There's no basis in constitutionality of that. That's basically them co-opting the president's power. And it's supposed to be three co-equal branches. And co-equal branch doesn't mean that you get to go the judicial just because they're judges doesn't mean that they can just crack that whip and
Exactly.
suddenly adopt the jobs of Congress or adopt the jobs of the president.
Right.
They have to, they have their lane and they got to stay in it. And there's no basis for them to do anything else. So when this gets in front of the Supreme Court and they rule on this, hopefully they'll do us a solid and do a real solid ruling on it, because that will extend to all of the other cases. When Trump is picking these fights in the first year so that he can run unabated in the subsequent years once the court
Exactly.
cases are resolved.
And for that reason, I mean, I think the whole thing with the Social Security and about having access to all the data, I cannot even understand or even fathom how we don't have full transparency with all that already. I mean, seriously, guys. I mean, with all the metadata that they have on all of us and what we're eating and drinking, they know, and somehow this one little office saying, "Oh, you can't have the Social Security numbers." Everybody in China has their Social Security numbers. How come Trump can't get them if China has them, and Russia has all of them? I mean, every single hack that's happened, there are so many data breaches where every single thing we've had has been released by far in very large fashion.
Well,
And so, no, my point here is that Trump trying to get that from the Treasury Department and everything else should not be a problem whatsoever in all reality.
you can't get bogged down into whether or not it's a severe whether or not they're damaged a lot or not. Number
I
one,
don't
they're
think
not
we're
damaged
damaged
at
any.
all. Exactly, they're not damaged at
None.
all.
None.
They don't even have a cause of action. They don't have anything to support the case at all. What
Exactly.
they
I mean,
have, what they have is a impending fear that they're going to lose their ability to, they're going to lose their jobs, and they're right. They are. This is the death throes of them trying to preserve the corrupt system that needed to be gone 50 years ago.
do you think he's going to go shopping with everybody's private IDs or something? I mean, seriously, what the hell? I mean, guys, they already, it's just mind numbing for them to even be taking this to court. and fighting on this
So,
hill.
let's put it this way: if Doge can't look at the data, the exact same concern and legal frameworks that would apply would make it so that Social Security couldn't look at the data either.
Exactly.
I mean, the bottom line is the Social Security Administration is a part of the executive branch, which the president is literally the executive's job to supervise them.
Yeah.
And him authorizing and sending another department to come in and review your data of that department is an inherent part of the executive's duties.
What do
So
they
the
call that?
judicial, thinking that they can just roll over him and take over the president's job from some stupid little district court over in Maryland, no, not gonna happen.
Hey, Maryland is where Garcia's from, you know?
Well, that's where he stays.
Powerful
But
state.
it ain't where he stays now.
No, I mean, in all seriousness, guys, I mean, I think we call this an audit. You know,
Yeah,
it's not, it should be.
that's the other thing. I think that if you want to talk about laws that we ought to pass, the law we ought to pass right now is that if your department hasn't passed this audit in 2 years, you can't receive new additional funding until
That'd be
you
great.
resolve the parts of the audit. Until you resolve those, do whatever write down you got to do, mea culpa, whatever. Until you get the things that are keeping you from passing your audits cleared up, you can't get any new funding. You would be amazed how pristine these audits will start turning out
It'd be pretty
when these
quick.
guys figure out that they're not going to get any more money.
Well, actually, what they do is they'll start suing because they think that their money is guaranteed for them because it's not really their money; it's their money.
Well, they can try. They can try whatever, and that's like USAID was a problem. What was it, the something for peace, the Institute for Peace.
Right.
They were getting funded to the tune of $50 million a year, and when they didn't spend that money, they didn't give it back. They swept it into a special bank account that they would give grants from, and the grants was always for like their jet or renting out a stadium. The Department of Education had $1 billion fund where you didn't have to do anything. You just put in the request. Didn't have to support. You didn't have to put in a receipt for it.
Mm.
And
Well,
even
I
if
think
so all Elon Musk did was put in a requirement that you had to submit a receipt. And as soon as they said, not even a justifiable receipt, just a receipt that has the same amount, he said you could have uploaded a picture of a dog and the system would have taken it because the system wasn't looking at what the picture was. It just looked to see, did you upload anything? And as soon as they instituted that requirement, they stopped getting requests.
Well, I think whenever you start realizing that a lot of the U.S. aid was actually tied to the CIA.
Well, this isn't even USA. This is the Institute for Peace and the Department of Education.
Well, hey, I mean, that's how they get free money, and that's the reason why it's their money, not their money. I mean, it's their personal money that they're using. They're cashing in on this baby, and it's just ridiculous on how they have basically gone away for years and decades. Basically just taking this entire system for a very big ride
Yes, I
financially.
have.
And the taxpayers don't seem to care. I mean, this whole anti-Doge thing, this whole anti-Elon manufactured bullshit thing, it's just ridiculous.
Taxpayers care plenty.
Yeah.
It's just well, I mean, look at Congress's approval since I've been looking at approval numbers for them. I think the peak I've ever seen was in the mid-30s. But in spite of that, everyone's congressman is their hero.
So what is that why?
But it's all those other guys, all those other bums. It's not my guy. Yeah, it's those other guys. Not my guy. My guy's good.
My
Wrong.
guy's perfect. It's still 400.
Anyway.
But I mean, it's a mess. But hey, we'll go ahead and follow up with this mess here next week. It'll still be around. It's not going
There'll be
anywhere.
plenty of mess to go around.
You guys, please subscribe to our channel. Please follow us. We are losing again subscribers and followers. After y'all follow us and subscribe to us, they'll disappear. We really have no idea how that happens, except for the algorithm is definitely broken, and it just likes to undo what y'all are doing. So just keep redoing it again. We appreciate it. We love you guys.
And yeah, the algorithm is not broken. It's doing exactly what it was designed to do, which is get rid of people that that don't toe the party line. So do like, subscribe, follow, and keep on doing it, because that's the only way you're going to get to the truth.
Exactly.
I'm Scott Miller. This is my partner Greg Fink, and we are the Political Matrix News.
Have a good evening.